Welcome to this short presentation about the Resilient Agricultural Landscapes Program, Land Use Beneficial Management Practices, offered by the Sustainable Canadian Agricultural Partnership, or Sustainable CAP. Always check our website for the most up-to-date information. The Sustainable Canadian Agricultural Partnership is a $485 million investment into Saskatchewan agriculture over 5 years. These programs were launched in 2023. Sustainable CAP is a federal provincial investment and is cost-shared on a 60-40 basis. Here you see the suite of Sustainable CAP programs that might be relevant to Saskatchewan producers, agribusinesses, industry organizations, and researchers. In this presentation, we will cover the Resilient Agricultural Landscapes Program, Land Use Beneficial Management Practices. All Sustainable CAP programs have some basic eligibility requirements. They are that you must be a Saskatchewan producer, individual partnership or corporation. Individual applicants must be at least 18 years of age. You must be able to demonstrate a minimum $50,000 gross farm income in Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan First Nations bands, raising livestock, or Saskatchewan Crownland Pasture Associations are also eligible. Persons related to an eligible applicant will be subject to the program's maximum funding cap for that eligible applicant. And if you have livestock, you must have a premise identification number. To sign up for a premise identification number, or PID, you can either visit our website or call the Agriculture Knowledge Center and someone will help you with your application. Those are the basic eligibility requirements for all Sustainable CAP programs. However, the Resilient Agricultural Landscapes Program has more specific requirements unique to each of its beneficial management practices. All of these lead to achieving the goals of the Resilient Agricultural Landscapes Program. A beneficial management practice, or BMP, is any agricultural management practice that ensures the long-term health and sustainability of land-related resources used for agricultural production, positively impacts the long-term economic and environmental viability of agricultural production, and minimizes negative impacts and risks to the environment. This presentation focuses on the land use BMPs. Each BMP has its own funding limits and eligibility requirements. Separate applications must be made for each individual eligible project. The Seeding Forage Beneficial Management Practice, or BMP, converts cropland to perennial forage cover. Perennial grasses and legumes sequester carbon, reduce soil erosion, improve water infiltration, and provide biodiversity benefits. Flowering tame forage species also provide important forage for managed and native bees, provides refuge habitat for beneficial insects, and additionally, perennial forages can be used as management tools for fields infected with clubroot. In addition to the basic Sustainable CAP eligibility requirements listed earlier, the Permanent Tame Forage BMP has some more specific requirements. This BMP is a rebate program, though the forage blend guidance is provided by a Ministry of Agriculture agri-environmental specialist prior to seeding to address concerns with using agronomic invasive species. Applicants are required to review the agri-environmental risk assessment before beginning their project. The project area must have been an annual crop for a minimum of 2 years prior to being seeded under this BMP. 50% of eligible costs are funded to a maximum of $30,000 without a land use agreement, or $60,000 with a land use agreement under this BMP. The maximum eligible payment for establishment costs is set at $25 per acre, and the maximum eligible payment for eligible seed is $35 per acre. Producers may opt into adding up to 5 pollinator species into the seed blend at a flat rate of $10 per acre for each species. Alfalfa is not eligible. Producers can access another $20 per acre per year by signing a 5-year land use agreement. The second forage seeding BMP that we are going to look at is the native forage stream. The purpose of this beneficial management practice is to establish native perennial forage cover to provide wildlife habitat and sequester carbon. Native plants are well adapted to the variable climatic conditions, require minimal inputs, and are resilient to grazing. Under this BMP, 90% of eligible costs are funded to a maximum of $30,000. The maximum eligible payment for establishment cost is set at $45 per acre, and the maximum eligible payment for certified seed is $400 per acre. Producers may opt into adding up to 4 additional pollinator species into the seed blend at a flat rate of $50 per acre for each species. Applicants must work with their local Ministry of Agriculture agri-environmental specialist to select their seed blends and complete their rebate application. Within the Permanent Native Forage BMP, eligible activities and items include the seed costs and establishment of perennial forages that contain at least one grass species. All seed purchased in the project must be graded as Common Number 1 or Certified Number 1. Like the Permanent Tame Forage BMP, the Permanent Native Forage BMP is a rebate program. Where this BMP differs from the Permanent Tame Forage BMP is not only in the funding level but also in the cropping history. There is no minimum annual cropping requirement for this BMP. However, it is not intended to be a rejuvenation and is not intended for the breaking and reseeding of existing native forages. Forage seed purchased must be Common Number 1 or Certified Number 1 seed. In the case of wild harvested seed, a germination test and purity analysis will be required from a certified lab to show cleanliness and prove the absence of prohibited or noxious weeds. Applicants are required to review the agri-environmental risk assessment before beginning their project. Only native forage species will be allowed in the forage blends for this BMP. If tame forage species are included in the forage blend will not be eligible under the Permanent Native Forage BMP. However, the forage blend may still be eligible under the Permanent Tame Forage BMP, provided the project meets the eligibility requirements of the Permanent Tame Forage Beneficial Management Practice. Within the Permanent Native Forage BMP, eligible activities and items include the seed costs and establishment of native perennial forages, with optional incentives for pollinator species. The Targeted Grazing Beneficial Management Practice contains and manages large-scale invasive plant infestations through the support of integrated non-herbicide practices. Infestations where herbicide application is not environmentally feasible or practical are targeted through this BMP. Projects must target noxious weeds currently approved under the program, such as leafy spurge, common burdock, Canada thistle, Russian knapweed, common tansy, and absinthe, often referred to as absinthe wormwood, or brush encroachment on native prairie. Applicants must work with their local agri-environmental specialist to have their projects pre-approved. The maximum eligible rebate for contracted small ruminant grazing services is $40 per acre. The rebate cost for projects when the applicant owns the small ruminants is a flat rate of $30 per acre. 50% of eligible costs to a maximum of $50,000 per year, and multi-year applications are accepted. The minimum rebate is $250. Some projects may be located on parcels of land deemed environmentally sensitive. Through the pre-approval application process, a Ministry of Agriculture agri-environmental specialist will conduct the environmental screening on private land. On Crown land, a land management specialist will conduct the environmental screening, and a Ministry of Agriculture Lands Branch application to construct improvements may be required. Projects located in environmentally sensitive areas may have special requirements, including but not limited to a Ministry of Environment wildlife friendly fencing guidelines, Ministry of Agriculture Lands Branch improvement authorization conditions, and limiting targeted grazing in sensitive areas. All of these applications can be found on our website at www.saskatchewan.ca/s-cap under the Programs for Farmers and Ranchers category, and then under Resilient Agricultural Landscapes program. You can select targeted grazing under the pre-approval or Permanent Tame Forage BMP and or Permanent Native Forage BMP under rebates. If you are interested in applying or would like more information on the land use beneficial management practices, there are a number of people that are available to answer your questions or help you with your application process. For the most up-to-date information on this program and others, or to subscribe to our Sask Ag Now e-newsletter, please visit our website or call the Agriculture Knowledge Center at 1-866-457-2377 to be connected to an agriculture program specialist nearest you. You can also check us out on social media.